The moment the boy entered the room, he saw an unfamiliar girl sitting on his bed holding a bowl of rice. Sampita found Kamiko completely strange, so much that cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Earlier that morning, right after Sampita woke up, Kamiko had broken through his bedroom wall. She was wearing a wedding dress but carrying a machine gun, as she was actually fighting a group of robots. Her power was incredibly fierce. Terrified, Sampita hid behind a blanket. After Kamiko single-handedly destroyed all the robots, she flipped her veil aside and walked towards Sampita. Seeing all this, Sampita ran out of the room in fear. When Sampita arrived at school, he was still thinking about the intense battle from that morning. He tried to convince himself it was just a nightmare and that everything had returned to normal. Just then, a white figure suddenly flew up outside the classroom window. It was Kamiko, the same girl with the machine gun from that morning. In front of all his classmates, she pulled Sampita close and began to apologize to him. Completely stunned, Sampita immediately ran to the school rooftop. Now he knew everything from the morning was real. As Sampita wondered why Kamiko always wore a wedding dress, he suddenly remembered a promise from 10 years ago. Back then, he had made a pact with a girl he liked to get married in 10 years. The decade passed quickly. Sampita tried to recall what that girl looked like and compared it to Kamiko's appearance, but they didn't match at all. His classmate Izumi came to the rooftop looking for him, wanting to know what had happened in the classroom earlier. Just then, a giant electric rice cooker monster climbed over the railing. Izumi fainted immediately. As the monster stared at Sampita and reached out with a mechanical arm, Kamiko arrived just in time. She began fighting the rice cooker monster and quickly smashed it to pieces. Kamiko was about to reveal her true identity to Sampita when she suddenly started convulsing due to electromagnetic interference. Then Kamiko's head split open, and to Sampita's shock, a woman emerged from inside. But she was injured and fainted into Sampita's arms. When Izumi regained consciousness, she pulled back the curtain to find a woman lying on the nearby bed, clearly in pain. Izumi grew anxious seeing this. At that moment, the woman, Inu, seemed to sense something. She suddenly sat up, pulled out a pistol, and began aiming around the room. Hearing a sound outside the door, she fired and accidentally anesthetized a teacher passing by. Only then did Inu realize her gas tank mech suit was missing. Feeling scared, she started searching for her mech suit, but her wounds were bleeding. She finally remembered she had been ejected from the mech due to her injuries. Knowing the truth, she stopped panicking, removed her clothes to treat her wounds, and then ran out. Sampita was still in shock because he realized Inu looked exactly like the girl he had liked as a child. But the situation had been too dangerous earlier for him to ask. Now his biggest concern was what to do with the object he had impulsively picked up and hidden under his desk. Sampita's friend Ryota noticed Sampita acting strangely and thought he was hiding something inappropriate. He insisted Sampita show it to him. To distract Ryota, Sampita told him to look outside the window, and surprisingly, there really was a floating hand outside. Just then, Inu found Sampita and pressed her gun to his head, demanding he return her mech suit, even if they were married. At that moment, the mech suit rolled into view on its own. Inu was so moved she nearly cried. After hesitating for a long time, Sampita finally decided to ask Inu if she was the girl he had liked in childhood. But before he could speak, the floating hand outside suddenly moved, formed a weapon, and threw it toward the classroom. When the students saw this, they started fleeing in panic. But Inu wasn't worried at all, even taking the time to comfort Sampita, promising to protect him. Before Sampita could react, Kamiko jumped directly into the mech suit. Inu entered the mech suit, and Kamiko reappeared, ready to deal with the floating hand outside. Facing the weapon flying toward her, Kamiko showed no fear. She stood in front of it, using her body as a shield. Although the weapon was made of cosmic-grade reinforced stainless steel, Kamiko was incredibly powerful.